Let me switch on this.
We're live, man. We're live. If I get holding screen.
There's so many downloads. Guys, my voice is not okay. I can't test. I can't hear myself.
Testing. Testing. 1 2 1 2. 1 2 1 2. Testing. Two, 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3 4. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2.
So this time we give
Testing 1 2.
Just a hint. Yeah, just go.
Testing 1 2.
But it's sports, eh?
Testing. Just a okay. Testing.
Shimon.
Again. Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Testing 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
That one is on. Must I switch off?
Testing 3, 4, 5, 6.
That one, huh? That means when that one is on, this one must be off. Okay, so will this one be roving?
5, 6.
Yeah, but the sound is fine as long as it's loud. So this is roving. Then for spokesperson, the third one.
Testing 4, 5, 6, 7. Testing 4, 5, 6, 7.
And it's like a
Testing 6, 7, 8, 9. Testing 6, 7, 8, 9.
I think you know what?
Testing 7, 8, 9.
Mic check, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2. 1, 2. Mic check 1 2. Check check check. Mic check. Check. 1 2 1 2. 1 2. Testing. Testing testing. Mic check. Mic check 1 2 1 2. Testing testing testing. It's a mic check.
Ewan, this room needs a mic. Yeah, no, it's fine, thanks. Non Spanish. Spanish.
Uzositshela mos ukuthi sibe maybe sibe lapha laba benze lapha. U-CFO nezinto lezi lapha thina sohlala.
Who is Bravos? He must sit here. Let me see.
Yeah. We can stand. So
No, you can't stand. You can't stand. Okay, sit here. Yes. Let's settle. Thank you again for having joined us, having responded to our invite. Thank you for being here on Sunday. MEC Maile will give an outlook, an overview on crime, violence, and safety in schools. MEC Maile is joined by the acting DDG, Ms. Sinat Meraz, also joined by the acting director for school safety, Mr. Vusi Masamene. MEC, now you are ready.
No, thanks. CEO of MEC Maile as well.
Oh, sorry, let's also acknowledge the CEO of the MEC Maile and the Directorate for Psychosocial Support at TDE. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Are you fine? Yeah, let me read the statement. I know you have a copy, but for the purposes of record, I'll go through it. So Gauteng province remains one of the hotspots of crime. The recently released crime stats show that Gauteng has the highest crime rates with a total of 118,311 crimes reported, representing 26% of all crime recorded in the country in 2026. The study by the Center for Justice and Crime Prevention found that there is a link between crime in communities and incidents in schools. Therefore, the high crime levels in the province are mirrored to a large extent in our schools. This could be a number of factors that includes school community, gang conflicts, gang violence, spilling into schools, presence of shebeens and drug dens near schools. Over the last 5 years, the department has recorded incidents across selected categories in schools. These categories were identified based on the frequency with which they occur and their impact on teaching and learning. The data reveals persistent school safety challenges across Gauteng. Over this period, schools reported more than 4,100 incidents of vandalism and more than 4,600 incidents of violence. The department also recorded close to 400 incidents of sexual misconduct and nearly 1,400 search and seizure cases. While the number of incidents has fluctuated over the years, the overall trend demonstrates that violence, vandalism, substance-related incidents, and learner misconduct remain significant challenges that require continued collaboration between schools, parents, communities, and law enforcement agencies. These numbers are a concern as they indicate that schools are under threat. The Gauteng Department of Education is working closely with the South African Police Service under the 10-point protocol signed in 2025. Part of the protocol is searches and seizures and reporting and monitoring. This will assist in consistent collation and analysis of crime in schools and implemented targeted interventions. School safety is part of the broader societal challenges relating to crime, violence, substance abuse, and social instability that confront South Africa, which continue to affect communities and are increasingly finding expression within our schools environment. It Takes a Village to Raise a Child campaign is aimed at sensitizing communities about the realities of the impact of society on schools and the importance of community involvement in addressing crime and violence in schools. The Gauteng Department of Education, therefore, recognizes school safety as a critical pillar of educational success. Learners cannot learn effectively in environments characterized by fear, intimidation, or violence. Educators cannot teach optimally in unsafe conditions. Continued vandalism, burglaries, and theft of equipment and assets are hindering effective delivery of curriculum. Safe schools are therefore not only a security imperative, but an educational imperative. What communities are telling us through the department's Tutopili, under the theme "It Takes a Village to Raise a Child" community engagements program, where the MEC regularly engages with parents, educators, school governing bodies, community leaders, faith-based organizations, and other stakeholders across Gauteng. School safety consistently emerges as one of the most pressing concerns affecting school communities. Communities continue to raise concerns relating to bullying, learner-on-learner violence, substance abuse, vandalism, theft of equipment, burglaries, criminal activity around school, and the growing exposure of learners to social challenges that negatively affect teaching and learning. School governing bodies and principals have repeatedly highlighted the impact of criminal activity within communities, inadequate security infrastructure, damaged fencing, poor lighting, vandalism, and burglaries on the ability of schools to provide safe and conducive learning environments. Parents have also expressed concern about the safety of learners, both within school environments and along routes traveled to and from school. These concerns are consistent with the findings of the department's environmental scan on crime and violence in schools, which identified gang-related violence, bullying, substance abuse, theft, vandalism, sexual harassment, and criminal activity around schools as some of the key safety challenges affecting schools across the province. The alignment between what communities are reporting and what the department's research reinforces the urgency of strengthening school safety interventions and deepening collaboration between government, communities, and other stakeholders. The state of school safety in Gauteng, recognizing the growing importance of school safety, the Gauteng Department of Education commissioned a comprehensive environmental analysis of crime and violence in schools, which was conducted by the Medio Goniwe School of Leadership and Governance, which profiled more than 1,300 schools across the province and identified 245 schools as high-risk schools requiring targeted intervention and support. The study found that school safety challenges were often linked to broader community conditions. Key concerns identified included gang-related violence, bullying, substance abuse, the availability of drugs and alcohol around schools, sexual harassment, vandalism, theft, and criminal activity within surrounding communities. Importantly, the findings of the study mirrored concerns raised by communities during stakeholder engagements across Gauteng. Parents, educators, and school governing bodies repeatedly highlighted the impact of violence, bullying, substance abuse, and criminal activity on learners and school communities. The study therefore reinforced the department's position that school safety must be addressed through a combination of prevention, support, enforcement, and community participation. Evidence from schools and learner support programs. Beyond the findings of the environmental scan, the department continues to receive valuable insights through the work of its learner support and psychosocial intervention programs. Reports submitted by partner organizations indicate that many schools continue to face challenges relating to bullying, substance abuse, learner, mental health, behavioral concerns, trauma, abuse, and community-related safety risks. Through the department's partnership with the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, school-based mental health awareness and suicide prevention interventions reached more than 11,000 learners and over 150 educators during April 2026 alone. These interventions focused on depression, anxiety, suicide prevention, help-seeking behavior, and emotional well-being. Schools participating in the program highlighted concerns relating to bullying, substance abuse, peer pressure, and learner mental health challenges. The department's partnership with the Teddy Bear Foundation continues to provide specialized support to vulnerable learners across Gauteng. During April 2026, the foundation supported more than 100 schools and provided direct interventions to learners affected by trauma, abuse, behavioral challenges, and psychosocial difficulties. Additional support is provided through Childline, Gauteng, and the Isbindi Ezikolweni program, which continue to deliver counseling services, child protection interventions, psychosocial support, and early identification of vulnerable learners requiring specialized assistance. The Isbindi Ezikolweni program currently operates in 30 schools across the province through child and youth care workers who provide support to vulnerable learners and strengthen school-based care and support systems. Through this program, more than 35,000 learners have benefited from awareness programs and targeted interventions, while hundreds of high-risk learners continue to receive ongoing support. The evidence emerging from these programs demonstrates that school safety extends beyond physical security. Effective school safety interventions must also address learner well-being, mental health, psychosocial support, family circumstances, and broader community conditions that influence learner development. The impact of crime and violence on teaching and learning. School safety is directly linked to educational outcomes because learners who do not feel safe are less likely to attend school regularly, participate fully in learning activities, or perform to their full potential, and educators who work in unsafe environments face additional pressure that affects morale, productivity, and teaching effectiveness. Violence, vandalism, and criminal activity also divert limited resources away from teaching and learning. Funds that should be directed towards educational programs are often redirected towards repairs, security measures, and emergency interventions. For this reason, school safety must be viewed as an essential component of educational quality and learner success. Crime, vandalism, and the protection of school infrastructure. The department remains deeply concerned about criminal activity targeting schools and educational infrastructure. Schools are public assets that serves entire communities. When educational infrastructure is vandalized, burglarized, or destroyed, the consequences extend beyond physical damage. Valuable teaching and learning time is lost. Limited financial resources are redirected towards repairs and replacement costs, whilst learners are deprived of the quality learning environment they deserve. Incidents involving damaged fencing, break-ins, theft of equipment, vandalism of classrooms, and destruction of infrastructure continue to place pressure on schools and the education budget. The department therefore calls upon communities to regard schools as community assets that require protection and collective ownership. Existing school safety interventions, the Gauteng Department of Education has implemented a range of interventions aimed at improving school safety and creating secure learning environments. Following the identification of 245 high-risk schools through the department's environmental scan, targeted interventions were introduced to support schools facing elevated safety risk. As part of these interventions, private security services were initially deployed to 75 schools and later expanded to 121 schools, identified as requiring additional protection and support. While the intervention contributed to improving security at identified schools, it was subsequently discontinued due to funding constraints. More importantly, the department recognizes that the long-term protection of schools cannot rely solely on private security services. School safety requires a collaborative safety interventions. CCTV systems have been installed at 606 schools across Gauteng as part of efforts to strengthen monitoring, improve incidents detection, and support preventative approach to school safety. In addition, the department has implemented specialized CCTV interventions through partnerships such as the Vodacom School Safety Project, which supports selected schools through surveillance systems, monitoring technologies, and enhance safety infrastructure aimed at improving school security. Beyond physical security measures, the department continues to strengthen partnerships with the South African Police Service and other stakeholders through awareness campaigns, safety education programs, and specialized support and services aimed at preventing incidents, promoting positive behavior, and improving response mechanisms. These interventions forms part of the department's broader approach to school safety, which combines technology, stakeholder collaboration, prevention programs, and community participation to create safe and conducive learning environments for all learners and educators. The department recognizes that school safety cannot be achieved through security measures alone. While physical security remains an important component of school safety, sustainable solutions require a comprehensive approach that addresses the root causes of violence, antisocial behavior, and criminal activity affecting learners and school communities. For this reason, the department continues to strengthen the role of school governing bodies, enhance partnerships, law enforcement agencies, municipalities, social workers, psychologists, community structures, and civil society organizations to ensure a coordinated response to school safety challenges. Particular emphasis has been placed on strengthening incident reporting systems, improving stakeholder coordination, expanding psychosocial support services, and enhancing programs that address bullying, substance abuse, and learner well-being. The department is also continuing to strengthen school-based safety structures to ensure that safety interventions are not only implemented during times of crisis, but become an integral part of school governance and management. Importantly, the department remains committed to ensuring that school safety interventions are informed by evidence, community engagement, and the lived experiences of learners, educators, and parents. School safety is therefore being approached not only as a security issue, but as a learner development, community development, and educational quality issue. Recognizing the evolving nature of safety challenges affecting schools, the Gauteng Department of Education has commenced a comprehensive review of its school safety strategy. The review process, which began in 2024, seeks to assess the effectiveness of existing interventions, identifying emerging risks, and strengthen the overall school safety framework in the province. The revised strategy aims to place greater emphasis on prevention, early intervention, stakeholder coordination, and the use of technology-enabled solutions to improve school safety outcomes. The department also recognizes the importance of strengthening school-level ownership of safety initiatives. Sustainable school safety cannot be achieved through external interventions alone. Schools themselves must become active participants in identifying risks, implementing preventative measures, and building positive school cultures. The future approach to school safety will therefore focus on creating learning environments that are not only physically secure, but also emotionally supportive and conducive to teaching and learning. The department's long-term objective is to move beyond reactive interventions and towards a preventative school safety model that combines technology, enabled safety systems, community ownership, learner support services, stakeholder collaboration, and evidence-based planning. The revised school safety strategy is expected to be finalized during 2026 and will provide a strengthened framework for addressing school safety challenges across Gauteng. The role of parents and communities, one of the clearest messages emerging from engagements with communities across Gauteng is that parents and communities want safe schools and better educational outcomes for their children. At the same time, communities have consistently acknowledged that school safety cannot be achieved by government alone. Parents remain the primary influence in the lives of their children. The values, discipline, attitudes, and behaviors that learners bring into schools are often shaped long before they enter the classrooms. For this reason, parental involvement remains one of the most important interventions in promoting positive learner behavior and preventing violence, bullying, and substance abuse. Communities also play a critical role in protecting schools from vandalism, criminal activity, and antisocial behavior. Schools are not merely government facilities. They are community institutions, centers of learning, and symbols of hope for future generations. The department, therefore, calls on parents, school governing bodies, community leaders, faith-based organizations, civil society organizations, and all stakeholders to actively support school safety initiatives and work collectively to protect schools. This approach is consistent with the principles underpinning the department's Tutopili, It Takes a Village to Raise a Child program, which recognizes that learner development and educational success are shared societal responsibilities. The safety of learners and educators is not negotiable. Every learner has the right to learn in an environment that is safe, supportive, and conducive to educational success. Every educator has the right to teach in an environment free from violence, intimidation, and fear. The evidence presented in this statement, together with the findings of the department's environmental scan and an ongoing engagement with communities across Gauteng, reinforces a simple but important reality. Safe schools are essentially for quality education. The concerns raised by parents, educators, school governing bodies, and community stakeholders, coupled with evidence emerging from safety interventions and learner support programs, demonstrate that school safety remains one of the most important priorities facing the education sector. The Gauteng Department of Education will continue to strengthen school safety interventions, invest in learner well-being and psychosocial support programs, expand strategic partnerships, and implement evidence-based interventions aimed at creating safer learning environments for all learners and educators. However, school safety cannot be achieved by government alone. The department recognizes that sustainable solutions require active participation from parents, families, communities, school governing bodies, faith-based organizations, civil society organizations, law enforcement agencies, the private sector, and every stakeholder who has an interest in the well-being of our children. The Basic Education Laws Amendment Act, popularly known as BELA, further reinforces the responsibility of the education system to protect the dignity, well-being, safety, and best interests of every learner. Schools must remain environments where learners feel protected, supported, and able to realize their full potential. The department therefore calls on all stakeholders to work together to combat violence, address bullying, prevent substance abuse, protect school infrastructure, and create safer communities for our children. Protecting learners is a shared responsibility. Protecting schools is a shared responsibility. Building safer communities is a shared responsibility. The Gauteng Department of Education remains committed to working with all stakeholders to ensure that schools remain places of learning, opportunity, and hope for every child in the province. Protecting schools means protecting the future of our children. Protecting our children means protecting the future of Gauteng. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MEC. Colleagues, the MEC and the panel, acting DDG, they are going to respond together with the MEC on questions. So I then now take a round of questions. So you will introduce yourself and the media house you come from. I then take hands. Tato, Mr. Siakwe, those two hands, not order. Tato.
Thank you so much. Next week, Tuesday, we're commemorating 50 years since the June 16 uprising, and the main issue was the medium of instruction when it comes to academic learning. As a province, are there maybe efforts to ensure that schools, particularly who are in townships, are being taught in their medium of instructions for all subjects?
Thank you, Tato. Mr. Siakwe.
Stephen Siakwe from Beza Media. Two questions. Regarding the school safety. Thank you.
The first one, I'll just reiterate, it's regarding the protection of school infrastructure and vandalism. Has the department budgeted anything to actually empower the community safety groups that have intervened in certain communities and adopted some schools that are high risk, and they started to work from there? For example, in Lisedi, Eratada, there was a very high-risk school called Gauteng Middle School, which was newly opened, and there was initiation-related violence, gang violence. So the community safety group decided to adopt the school and work from there, especially during the night. So when they do interventions, they report from that office, and they use other schools as well in the area. So we just want to know that, has the department budgeted anything for those community safety groups to continue such initiatives, because they have made a curb in reducing the infrastructure vandalism and also making sure that when there's incidents of violence, they quickly intervene. And then second question is just regarding the school security personnel. We just want to know that, have you, as the department, since they've withdrawn private security in some schools, has there any been monetary budgets to actually empower school safety monitors? Because in some schools there are volunteers who have come from the community to say that they will go after hours and just watch the school, and there's night watchers who've also volunteered with the school. But one complaint you've seen that there's no targeted program from the Department of Education that says community groups are now empowered by the department to actually do this volunteering job. So we just want to know, do you have any school safety monitoring personnel from the department that watch the school after hours? Thank you.
Yeah, Tato, one of the requirements for a learner to pass is that they must pass what is called the home language. So it's in the system throughout. So it's a milestone since 1994 as part of reversing the Bantu education ideology in the system. So we've made a lot of strides in addressing the June 16, 1976 grievances of those learners. And as you know, those grievances have evolved over a period of time. It was not only just about the medium of instruction, it was also about the Bantu education system, which was meant to degrade the dignity of blacks and Africans in particular. So we have made a lot of progress in improving the curriculum, amongst other things, and the kind of system we have in place now, post-1994. So there's a lot to celebrate on Tuesday, despite the fact that there are still challenges. But I'm sure the President is capable enough to eloquently articulate this achievements since 1994, and we look forward to celebrating. We will be at FNB. We call on all Gauteng citizens to come there. Your two questions are related to budget, and I want to respond to them as one question. You know, ideally, and I'll say in theory, the protection of all citizens is the responsibility of South African police services, and that's why we give them budget for that. So the Department of Education is not given a budget for the protection of citizens. It's given budget to educate learners and to provide material. But because of the circumstances we found ourselves in, we have to try and improvise and sometimes redirect. And that's why in the statement, when you read, we're saying vandalism and crime is redirecting resources from important education programs. However, we spent already 165 million just on what we call scholar patrols. You've got a lot of initiatives which we commend, and people could call themselves all sorts of names. But we will not have the money to fund all those things, because our money must buy learner support material in the schools. We are giving kids food every day. We are transporting kids to schools and many other things that we have to do. So we operate within a budget framework that is given by the provincial treasury and approved by the legislature. So we are giving our budget vote on the 23rd of June. And I think we will have a press conference at 9 in the legislature in the morning, just to elaborate further on the allocation of the money for this financial year and how we are going to utilize it.
Thank you, MEC. Let's check if there's any follow-up questions or anyone else. Or Stephen? Okay.
MEC, regarding the situation earlier this month in Fisherville, where the grade 10 learner unfortunately lost his life outside the school premises, we've seen that there's a lot of occurrences that happen outside the school premises, and then the department intervenes, providing support or even just wherever they can. We just want to know, what message do you have to the communities so that they can understand that some incidents are not happening in school grounds, and as the department, you take responsibility to condemn those incidents? Because sometimes when we do reporting that a learner has been tragically affected by violence and it happens outside the school premises, the schools get affected in the following day because of some misinformation happening, you know. So when we mention the learner and the school, sometimes the attention goes to the school rather than the incident itself. So we just want to ask you, MEC, do you have something to say to the community to just encourage them to say, no, the schools, leave the schools out of this so that the police can do a proper job? Because sometimes we find protests in the middle of school days which were related to incidents that happened outside the premises. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. For you?
MEC, thank you for your time. This is Oyo from Neutral Africa. My question is very simple. Much and much is promising to be on the streets on the 30th of this month. No, it's fine. I think. Okay. All right. Sorry. So on the 30th of March, on the 30th of this month, Much and Much is promising to be on the streets. We understand that there are some students as well, or scholars, who are being parent by legal immigrants. Is the department ready to face some of those challenges that may come on the 30th of this month?
Thank you for you. Tato?
Sorry, MEC, this is a follow-up to what you were saying. You're saying in relation to the 1976 individuals, you mentioned something as a milestone. For you, what would be another milestone in the next coming 50 years as part of commemoration and continuing the struggle? Thank you.
Thank you, Tato. So there are no further questions. MEC and the panel?
Yeah, no, I want to start with You know, schools are a reflection of what happens in society. So if there's violence, there's crime, there's drugs, they will find expression in society. And I think that's why we have a slogan and a theme titled, "It takes a village to raise a child." Or if you like, it takes a community to raise a child. And therefore, it's a responsibility of communities to make sure that we solve societal problems so that they don't affect the smooth running of the schools. And we want to call on all parents, as we have said, the school governing bodies, civil society, and all different sectors of society to make a pledge and a commitment towards ensuring that we have schools that are functional and that are safe, and where the environment is conducive for learners and educators to engage. As I've said, the police, we will call on the police to ensure that there is no anarchy. We cannot allow anarchy, and we will not tolerate anyone disrupting our our schools for whatever reason. There is no justification for disruption of schools. There is no justification. It doesn't matter how angry people can be. And previously we've seen that the schools have become easy targets. If people are fighting with the mayor because there is no water or electricity, they disrupt school. That's not right, it's not allowed, and that's why we are having 45 community meetings which will end, I think, on the 3rd of July. And we'll call you to give you a briefing on what is the outcome of those community meetings and what are we going to do about some of the issues that are being raised, because they're not only raising issues of safety, they're raising a whole range of issues that we think it would be in the best interest of the public for us to explain what we're doing about it. I think for me, the milestones in the next 50 years or even in the next year or so, what we need to do is to ensure that we grow our economy, improve the living conditions of the people so that you can have enough jobs for young people, for new entrants in the economy, and that we also refine our education system to be able to help young people as they leave the system, whether in the basic education or tertiary education or vocational system, to be able to find jobs and even create jobs. So I think for me it's about refining this work that we have started to do. Yeah.
Thank you very much, MEC. Thank you very much to DDG Merazi. And want to appreciate everyone for having made time to be here on a Sunday. We do have some refreshments organized. Thank you very much. At conference.